Hi, welcome to Stellar Yoga. I'm Estelle. I'm coming to you from a really lovely and unique location on the Seine River in France, which runs from Paris to the English Channel in Normandy. And I thought we'd take this chance to enjoy the beautiful scenery while we also engage in some yoga that's also going to center us and ground us. So we're going to start on the ground. We're just going to take a comfortable seated position. This can be using a pillow, this can be in a chair, any position that feels good to you. Just take a minute and take a seat. Take a second to notice where you are, to come to this moment. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can just bring your gaze gently to a soft point on the ground and let them relax. And just take a few breaths here to come into this present moment. Notice some of the sounds that might be in this space with you. Notice some of the scents, perhaps, that might be around you. And see if, when you have thoughts that come into your mind, you can just take note of them and come back to where you are right now, the feeling of your body against the earth in some way. And then without changing anything, just bring your attention to the air moving into your body and exhaling out of your body. Notice the depth of it, the rhythm. No need to change anything, just noticing. And then notice what happens if you start to lengthen and deepen that breath a bit. Maybe notice how your ribs or your shoulders or your chest lift when you take an inhale. Maybe notice the cloth against your body moving when you in or exhale. And see if when you exhale each time, you can let a little bit of tension, a little bit more tension, go on each exhale. And that weight of your body, rather than being held in any of your muscles, can sink into the earth. Take one more big inhale, long, deep inhale and exhale. And for the next few breaths, we're going to bring our arms to move to some of that. But first, maybe let's just give our neck a little warm up. So let your head drop as you continue to breathe in and out. If you can, it can be more soothing to do so through your nose. That can help inform your nervous system. So just drop your chin towards your chest a bit and take a few breaths there. Noticing what changes in your muscles, if anything, over the course of a few breaths. And then gently, slowly lift your head back up and let your head arch back a little bit. It doesn't have to be much, especially if you have a sensitive neck. You can take it to any extent that you want. If you want to drop it back with some support, you can hold on to the nape of your neck to the bottom of your head and support yourself to arch back a little bit with your head. Again, notice what happens with your torso, your ribs in this position. Come back when you're ready to neutral location. And let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder. If you'd like a bit more intensity, you can stretch your left hand out towards the ground. And notice what happens as you breathe in and out in this position. You can also lift your hand up if you want different sensation. You can place your hand on your lower back. Just notice what feels good to you and lean into that. And when you're ready, gently lift it up to a neutral position, and we'll let the left ear fall towards the left shoulder. And again, you can experiment with what feels good today on this side by walking your right hand out to the side or lifting it up, placing it on your low back, or letting it just rest in your lap. Maybe you need something different on each side. So notice what feels good on this side. Continuing to breathe in and breathe out in this position. When you're ready, bring your head slowly back up to neutral. Notice what it feels like sitting on top of your head, like an apple balancing on a pole. And then bringing a little bit of movement, just start rolling your shoulders. See if that feels good. You can roll them forward. You can reverse it. You can take any other movements that might feel good on your spine or in your neck as you start to bring some movement into the cervical spine and the throat chakra area. And then come back to neutral. Find a moment here. We're going to take 3 breaths together using our arms. So slowly rising on an inhale, taking the whole inhale to lift your arms up over your head. And exhale them slowly, taking the whole exhale to come down to your heart center. And do that 2 more times on your own breath. And from here, once you've come back to heart center, We're going to move from our comfortable seated position slowly to find position on all fours. You can put a blanket under your knees if that feels good. Just find a position where you feel comfortably supported. And just take a few cat-cow here, breathing in while we arch our spine. And exhaling to round our spine, bringing our chest to our chin. And just take this on your own breath rhythm. Inhaling, arching your spine, finding some length. Exhaling, squeezing your stomach and your chest towards each other, finding roundness in your upper back. Again, you can take that full inhale breath to arch, and that long, slow exhale to round. And do that one more time. And then slowly come back to neutral. Feel that your head is in line with your shoulders and pelvis. And then we'll just do some arches from side to side. So keeping your head at a level position and just going from side to side, squeezing shoulder towards hip. And doing that on the other side. If it feels good, you can take some circular motions, some exploratory motions to just see what feels good in your body as you're waking up. This connection all the way along the length of your spine in different positions. And when you're ready, come back to a neutral position on our fours, head in line with the spine. And we're going to go ahead and lean on our left hand and our right knee. We're going to raise our left leg, straighten that, and straighten our right arm. And if it feels like something that's good for your body today, you can play with lifting those both up. If it just feels good to take a long line here, try to balance your hips, stay with that. Stay with what feels inherently right for your body today. If you want, you can bring your elbow to your knee and bring those out again, practicing staying balanced in this position. And if it feels good, you can reach around, try to grab hold of that foot, lift your chest a little bit, arch up. You can also always use a belt or a scarf to wrap around that back foot, and then you hold that, just lift up a bit, or you can rest your foot on the ground and just open up your chest a bit. And when you're ready, come back to all fours. Take a minute to notice how you're feeling right now. If anything feels different from before or the same, just noticing. And we'll move to the other side, straightening that right leg out behind us, reaching the left arm forward. If you want, you can play with lifting up that right leg. Trying again to keep your torso nice and straight, your head in line with your spine. And again, if you want to bring elbow to knee, to play with your balance a little bit here, you're welcome to do that. Or you can just stay here finding some length from toes to fingertips. And then you can lower that right leg. You can bring your hand to your hip and just open up to the left a little. If you have a belt or a strap, you can wrap it around your toe, or you can reach back and find a bit of an arch, kicking that foot into your hand. And then reaching back out and coming to all fours again. From here, we're going to stretch our feet out a little bit further behind us. Come into plank position. And then push back into a downward facing dog. Notice what this feels like in your body today. Take some breaths here. Feel free to play around with the position and width of your feet and your hands, the bend of your knees, finding what feels good for you today, where you need movement or where you need stillness. And make sure your shoulders are active, like you are pushing the ground away, so you're not just sinking and falling into this shape, but you're finding a balance between this triangle and you're pushing the ground away so that you're not falling into any of those joints in your arms. And make sure you let your head be loose and relaxed. You don't have any strain there. We're going to take a series of modified vinyasas here. They're modified so that we're not overextending our lower back. So inhale into plank. Then you can lower down to your knees, bend your elbows, push back up into plank, but lift your chest. And then push back down and over into downward facing dog and take a breath here. And again, inhale into plank. You can take a chaturanga here and push up into an upward facing plank, or you can just lower your knees, bend your elbows a little, push back up into an upward facing plank, or have your knees still on the ground, and then push back into downward facing dog. So you can adapt this to whatever feels right for your body today without judging what that means for you today, what you did yesterday, what you want to be doing today, just noticing what's right in your body today. Inhale into a plank, bend your elbows, push up and lift your chest, and come back into a downward facing dog. Take a long inhale and a long exhale here. And we'll do this 2 more times, whatever variation feels right to you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, opening your chest some way. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. And one last time, inhale. Lowering knees and chest, or just chest. Upward facing, knees on the floor or plank. And pushing back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Let it out. From here, we're going to inhale the right foot up and forward. Go ahead and lift yourself up. Try to keep your head in line with your back foot. So you're one straight line, you're not hyperextending your pelvis. Take a breath here. And then if you want to try some balancing in this position, you can either stay here, you can play with your arm placement, or you can try to step onto that right leg, lift up the back leg, any amount. You can bring your arms forward. Take a few breaths here. Warrior 3, trying to keep your hips even. And when you're ready, inhale that foot down, open your chest, exhale into plank, and then either take a vinyasa or just push back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. When you're ready, you can step your left leg up and then forward. Press into that, lifting up. You can keep your arms behind you, finding some length from the top of your head to the right heel. You can stay here, you can bring your arms up or out. Or if you want, you can step onto that left leg, lifting up your back leg. You can play with the arms forward. When you're ready, step that right foot back. Open your chest, lift up. Bring your hands down. Plank, either push back into downward facing dog or take any sort of modified vinyasa to find yourself back into downward facing dog. Feel free to come to your knees and take a child's pose here if you like, after some of this sustained, intense activity. Taking long, deep breaths here. We'll do one more set of standing poses here. So go ahead and lift your right leg up. Step it forward kind of wide. And we'll rise up into Warrior Two, which I'm going to turn and face you. So go ahead and find a bend in that right leg, a straight back leg, and they can be wide, they can be angled. Your hips are facing this way, so anything that your legs are doing outside of that is an external rotation. So feel free to find a nice wide stance if you want to come into parallel legs here. And then just turn this right leg out to whatever degree is comfortable, that you can keep your hips comfortable here, even if it looks like it's not a flat angle here. It is an externally rotation from your hips. So as long as it feels good in your hips and your lower back, that is fine. You can stay here playing with that bend in your leg, or you can step onto that leg, opening to the side in half moon, and you can play with lifting up that left leg to find half moon rising. You can do this holding onto the wall, using a chair or a block here, or even the floor for balance. It can be really nice if you're actually just leaning against the wall. And when you're ready, go ahead and lift up and lower that left leg. Inhale your right side long. Face the mat. Come into a plank. And press back into a vinyasa, into downward facing dog, through the vinyasa, or just straight to the downward facing dog. And we'll take this on the other side. So lifting your left leg up, bringing it wide to your mat, rising up here. Again, I'm going to do this facing you. So your legs can stay like on wide train track trails. And then you can turn both your feet and your hips to the side to find a Warrior Two. You can play with how deep you want to bend that or not. You can have your legs wide apart or close together. And if you want to play with half moon, go ahead and step onto that left leg. Open your body to the side. If you're doing it against the wall, you just move a little closer till your shoulder hits the wall. And then you can lean against that to rise up. Or if you want to take it in the room, you can use a wall or a chair here to rest your hand on. Or you can just play with balancing. One more breath. Lower that leg down. If it's up, step back onto it. Reach your left hand up, open your chest, come back down, find plank, and go ahead and push back into child's pose here if that feels good. Or into another comfortable pose if you want to put a pillow under your chest here or something on your knees so that the bend isn't so intense. Or you can just come into all fours and just let your head drop. So find some comfortable resting position and let your head be nice and loose and rest. We're going to come up, find your neutral spine on all fours, and notice how that feels in your body. Notice if it's changed at all since the first time we did this. And from here, we're going to come over onto our seats. We're going to do a little bit of boat pose. So again, you can take many variations on this. You can have a cushion under your butt for any of it, or roll up your mat so you have a thicker cushion there on your tailbone. And you can just lean back a bit with your arms reaching forward. You can lift your knees up bent, or you can straighten those legs. We're going to take some lowers and raises. So with your legs down, that will just look like lowering your lower back and raising back up. If your legs are up or out, we're going to do about 5 of these. They'll be up. So we'll lower down, exhale back up. Inhale, lower shoulders and toes. Inhale back up. Exhale back up, sorry. You can do this really on any breath that works for you. Another 2, lowering, rising, and one last time, lowering, and rising up. And then you can bend your knees, set them down. You can rest your hands behind if you'd like and just take a little arch to lengthen those stomach muscles that you've been using. And then we'll come back up into any of those positions that you've taken before. So your hands with your feet down or your legs bent or straight. And we're just going to go from side to side. So feet to the left, hands to the right. And then we'll switch feet to the right, hands to the left. And we'll switch again. Other side. Just go back and forth on your breath. One last set on each side. And again, bring your feet to the ground. Relax your hip flexors. You can bring your arms behind you and lift your chest to stretch those out. And if it feels good, you can also bring your feet into a bit of a butterfly. It doesn't have to be a close one. And just find a little release for your hip flexors here. And then when you're ready, we're going to find our feet on the ground again. We're going to push up into a squat, so you can also just bend your feet, your legs, and roll forward. If it feels good to take a deeper squat, you can do that. But eventually we'll all find our way to a forward fold. Your legs can be wide or a little closer at any rotation that feels good. If you want to rest on a chair, you can do that with your hands or some books or blocks on the ground. You can just hold your elbows and let that kind of traction your back a bit so it's nice and long. Swaying a little bit, letting your head be nice and loose. And then slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. Letting your head and your chin be the last thing to come up. So we're going to take a couple standing poses here. So find your feet on the ground, a comfortable stance, comfortable distance apart, just feeling your connection with the earth. And we'll lean into our left leg first. We're going to take a tree pose on that side, so you can rest your toes on the ground and your right heel on your left ankle. You can rest your foot on your shin, or you can rest your foot on your thigh. I'm trying to make sure your hips are even. That feels nice and solid for you. And then you can bring your hands to heart center, or you can find any other hand position that feels right. So hands at heart center can be really grounding, finding the connection of your hands and your heart going straight down to your feet into the earth. If it feels good, you can have your arms out to the side, have them on your waist, reach them out and up like the branches of a tree. Just find what feels good to you today. Have a tiny little bend in that left leg so you're not hyperextending anything. And just feel your body rooting into the earth. When you're ready, wherever your hands are, bring them back to heart center. Release your right leg all the way back onto the earth from whatever position it's in. And let your hands fall to your sides. And again, maybe if it feels good to you, you can close your eyes and just feel both feet on the earth. And when you're ready, take an inhale, your arms up. We're just going to sink down into chair pose, just like we're going to sit down into a chair. And just find some bends. sink into the folds of your body. Your hands can be reaching out behind you. They can be at heart center. They can be up overhead. Find what feels good in this position to you. And just take a couple more breaths here. On an inhale, rise up. Open your body long up to the sky and let your hands come down. And then we'll come into the right leg. Again, your left foot can be toes resting on the earth, heel on your right heel or ankle. You can rest your left foot on your lower calf, or you can rest your left foot on your right thigh. And again, find the hand position that feels right, whether that's at heart center, on your hips, reaching out like big branches or up. Rooting that right foot and leg into the earth with a tiny bend in the knee so it's not locked. And then when you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. Let your left foot find the earth again. Let your hands fall to your side and just find yourself standing on the ground again. And then inhale. You can lift your arms up, and exhale, come down into a chair pose. Sinking into those folds of your body with your hands in any position that feels right. So you can have them reaching out behind you. You can have them at heart center. They can reach forward. One more breath here. And then on an inhale, rise up, reach long to the sky, touch the ceiling if it's super low like mine. Bring your hands back to heart center. We'll do one more standing pose before we come down to the earth. So you might want to do this next to a wall or a chair so that you can balance. You also might want a strap for this one. So we're going to come onto our left leg, and we're going to take the right ankle in the right hand, or you can loop a strap around that ankle and hold on to it with your right hand. So we're stretching the quad on the right side. And then if you like to take a more challenging version of this is plenty challenging in terms of balance, you can lift your arm up. And if you want a more active version of this pose, you can kick that right leg, the right foot, into the right hand, trying to keep your torso nice and long. Again, you can hold onto a wall or a chair here. Try not to crunch anything, keep anything long. When you're ready, you can come back to the hamstring stretch and release that when you're ready. Again, find your feet on the ground. If you want to stretch your feet, you can. And we'll take that on the other side, coming onto our right foot, holding our left ankle in our left hand. And this is plenty of a stretch. It's plenty of a challenge to your balance. So feel totally free to stay here. If you want to play with your balance, you can play with your arm, raising it over your head. And if you want to work harder, you can kick that left foot into your left hand as far as you can go, and it may make your pelvis tip forward a bit, which is also okay. And this is dancer pose. When you're ready, come back to holding your left hand, holding your left ankle with your left hand, and then let both feet come to the earth. You can stretch your feet if that feels good by lifting up your ankles and coming onto your toes. And then inhale, lift your arms up, come onto your toes if you like, if that feels good. And then we're going to slowly come onto our backs, gently, so you can take a gentle forward fold. Let your head drop. Come down into a squat or onto all fours. And slowly find your way to a seated position. Getting a little bit of sun, which is nice. And then when you're ready, slowly lower down onto your back. Find a comfortable position on your back with your mat. You can shift your hips and your feet and your knees to find something neutral with your feet resting on the ground, knees bent, hands alongside your body. Finding the connection with the earth here, noticing your heartbeat and your breath. Maybe notice what sounds are going on around you, if any. What scents, if any. And the rhythm and the depth of your breath. Find your feet on the earth. We're going to take a bridge pose. When you're ready, on an inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips up. Make sure your neck is nice and long. And if you want, you can come onto your shoulders and clasp your hands together. And again, make sure you're not crunching your neck or squinching it up. And we're just going to take some breaths here. pressing into our feet, keeping our neck relaxed and long against the earth. Two more breaths here. Last inhale. And when you're ready on the exhale, lower your hips slowly down to the earth. You can unfold your shoulders. Play with your hips on the earth. Maybe you want to bend your knees. Hold the backs of your knees and pull them in, or roll from side to side. Just take any movements here that feel intuitively good for your body right now. And when you're ready, slowly move into a comfortable final resting pose. This can be knees straight or bent. You can have a pillow under your knees or under your neck. You can recline. You can do whatever feels good in your body. Don't be afraid to take up space. As you find this comfortable space, you can just give yourself a little massage between the eyes, on your forehead, through the length of your eyebrows to your temples. Then under the eyes, in the jaw and your cheeks. Move out to give your ears a little bit of a massage. And then if it feels good, a little bit of a tug on your hair. When you're ready, let everything rest on the earth. You have nothing to do now except to be here and absorb the benefits of your practice. And as you lie here, remember that in this space, in this moment, you are safe, you are loved, and the world is a richer place because you are in it. I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for another few minutes at least. When you do decide to come out slowly and gently to prepare yourself to reemerge into your day and into the world. And when you do eventually arise, to please take a few breaths, a few moments to find your seat on the earth again, to notice the sounds and the scents around you. And to take a moment also to appreciate yourself for giving yourself the gift, this time, this investment in your own well-being and your connection with your body and your breath. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.